So last week we ended up installing and finishing up the lighting system above this big 2,000 gallon on the West Coast. And then we had the Florida Marine Aquarium Society here on Saturday with Mr. Chris Meckley from ACI Aquaculture as our featured speaker. We had some great Italian food. Chris gave a really great talk all about corals and coral aquaculture and how much ACI has been doing for years in expanding their coral aquaculture program, even to gonopores nowadays. So there's some really great progress with that. But I wanted to cover a few things. We had a question from one of our viewers last week about the yellow chorus wrasse and the 400 gallon over here. There was a trio of them that are in there now. And you know, how they react with other wrasses or other celebris wrasse potentially that you may want to put into your reef aquarium. Are they aggressive? Are they not? But the thing I find with the yellow chorus, it's a really strong fish. There's sand on the bottom of this aquarium, so there's somewhere for them to live in. And they, as a whole, are really beneficial. They'll eat flatworms, they'll eat other little bugs and things that might be on the soft corals, which is really important. So last week, we had gone over those different types of fish that we like to put in as first fish into a really significant establishment of a new reef aquarium. And I know Alex got some coming in from Dynasty this week. This is a classic example of these first fish. Some Royal Grammas coming in, really good size. We ordered XLs. These are large Royal Grammas, but what a fabulous color. What a great fish. Friendly, peaceful, a little cryptic. They're gonna hide under things, but you know, in a brand new reef aquarium, these are fabulous fish. One of the items that we didn't really cover in depth was the whole element of these new fish going into the aquarium, then how best to deal with feeding. I covered that with a response you're going to see right here, right now. Here's just a simple Eheim feeder with a barrel with the food that's in there and the feed tube here, so the food sinks and the fish will come out and eat the food like they're doing right now, and all the food is sinking. It's not floating on the surface. You can see even the nasotang going up inside the feeder now, feeding the clownfish going up there, the aquaculture clowns, the aquaculture yellow tangs, even the yellow chorus will go up there. But let's go over to the big reef, because I wanted to talk about that too. So we go into a new cycle of a reef aquarium. We put in these first blue-green chromis, some aquaculture clowns. As a matter of fact, our clownfish here are laying eggs and breeding on a constant basis. That pair, there's an ocellaris and there's some other snowflake type clown there with a set of eggs down. You know, I auto feed, especially when you get into a big aquarium. You can see the fish already starting to react, and I'll go over here and we can go ahead and do a feed cycle with the automatic feeder. This Eheim up here you're gonna see is labeled correctly, and there's several features that come with it. So the feeder now is going, the fish are gonna come over and react like they naturally would, but the feeding of fish in a marine reef tank, to me, especially the size of this aquarium, I mean, you've got to feed them on a very regular basis. And what I mean with that is a quantity of food, a variety of food that gets and keeps everybody happy in the aquarium, meaning fat and happy. Fish need food. If you don't feed them, they're gonna starve to death. If you don't feed them, they're going to chase down the other fish. And you know, sometimes they'll beat up the other fish and the other fish might die because they're not getting enough food. So the feed barrel, I will typically label it so that you, A, don't fill the whole thing up, B, you put the food in on a regular time basis, which is logged in on our cycle of feeding for that aquarium, and then we tape the barrel so nobody can adjust it, so it can only feed so much food every time. That's feeding about a teaspoon every rotation, and it's now fixed, so nobody can adjust it. And that goes with experience more than anything. The dry feeder's been running, that's cycling 4 times a day, about a teaspoon at a time. I think it's at 8, 11, 2, and 5 p.m. And then we'll go inside into the filtration closet for this 2000, running about now, you know, 3.5, 4 years, somewhere in that range. And then I'll go back into our liquid feeds, right? So we have our assortment of Reef Nutrition liquid feeds there. You've got your Roti Feast, you've got Pack Pods, ROE, and Arctic Pods, right? Those are in there on an automated cycle, feeding 6 or 7 times a day. And you can see they're labeled. They're labeled with the timing, the cycle. It goes for 10 minutes on Pack Pods and it goes for 10 minutes on Mysis feeds. The same thing with Phyto and the other one as well, which was the Arctic pods. So you can push these and see them cycling. So at 10 minutes at this speed, they're putting in, I believe it was 30 or 40 milliliters of food. And that's now going through the liquid lines and dripping into the aquarium. That right there is a very important aspect of keeping a larger marine reef tank. The liquid feeds that just went in was only about 30 milliliters of food going in, but it's everywhere. You constantly see the anthias, the green chromis, the tangs, the gobies, the clowns. I mean, they're all out feeding. Even this cleaner wrasse is doing super well. You see the serpent stars out right now too. This other serpent star, look at them come out. They know the food is in. Look, there's more here, there's more there. There's gotta be 20 brittles and serpent stars in this aquarium, but they're all out feeding because they smell it and they know the food's in there. So super important, you gotta feed your fish well. It's just beautiful, right? Corals are growing, fish are happy, and then feeding them is the next step. You've got to recognize that they need food, they need it on a constant basis, on a regular basis, and all of these things help to create a successful reef aquarium environment, which includes fish, of course, and how those fish and that food input, which is a nitrogen source really, which is food for the fish, which becomes waste when the fish poop it out. It becomes nutrients for the reef. Those organics need to be either absorbed or removed through protein skimmer, through an algal scrubber, through water changes. So remember to feed your fish, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.